Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Kevin from Ezekiel Defense, and you guys know this guy.
I'm Paul.
He needs no introduction. We've been doing a
Thank you.
we've been doing a series of videos for a while. We started off with kind of the brand new shooter, did all that kind of stuff, which was fun. We thought we would do something a little different and take it to the interwebs. And me and Paul are going to discuss some of the top 10 gun myths that pop up in Reddit, Yahoo, and Google searches.
You can call
So
me Jamie Heineman because
it's
I'm a
gonna be
myth buster.
it's gonna be great. So we're gonna do something a little different. So I got 10, and we'll read them off to Paul, and we'll get his reaction. So Paul,
Yes.
myth number one is racking a shotgun or a pistol will immediately stop a potential attacker or someone breaking into your home.
In the movies, yes. In real life, who knows? If somebody who's breaking into your home watches a lot of movies where they see that, potentially, you're not going to carry typically around in the chamber of a shotgun anyways because it's a floating firing pin. But who knows?
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't like to leave my life and my family's life up to maybes. So that's not something that I'm going to, do. Um, I can accomplish the same thing with my defensive setup and then my voice. Turn on the lights. You see a lot of stuff where people are going through houses and it's dark and they're trying to be all cool. No. Turn the lights on
Turn the lights
and then
on.
tell people I have a gun.
Yeah.
Because then at that point, if you're telling them that they've broken into your house and that you have a gun and you turn the lights on, and,
Yeah.
if they don't get out after that, it's kind of on them. I don't need to rack a shotgun because the
Yeah.
movies say that's cool.
I hear that one. I've heard that one all the time. Even growing up, like grandpas and uncles and all that. Even now, you'll hear that all the time. People will say that somebody breaks in my house, what they're gonna hear is me racking the shotgun, and they're gonna flee. And I love the theory. It sounds badass, but in reality, it's probably not what's going to take place. You don't even know, like, the person may not even hear you doing it, honestly. But with a pistol, like, I'll let you slide with the shotgun. I'll let you slide with that one. It's the pistol that's the worry, because a lot of people will say things like, "Well, I don't carry around in the chamber because I want them to hear me racking it." Well, I know you guys haven't taken our classes, but
You
um,
have.
we have. We both agree if the pistol comes out, we've exhausted all other options. Like, it's not a game, it's not a toy. If we've done everything we can to prevent it and the gun comes out, that means I needed it 5 seconds ago. I'm not going to pull it out in front of the attacker and be like, this isn't, what's that movie, The Bowling with John Goodman? Oh,
The Big Lebowski.
yeah, like, I'm not gonna stand up and like rack the gun. It's just not how that's gonna work. My luck, I'm gonna be so jacked up from the 30 shots of espresso I had that I'm gonna rack it and force some type of malfunction in the gun. Let's just be honest.
Rack it, ride the slide home, get a double
Let's just
feed.
be honest. Let's just be honest. So no.
No, because if you're racking a pistol to scare somebody off, you're wrong on so many different levels.
Yeah.
You should already have a round in the chamber. The gun's there for a defensive purpose, and to look cool while you do it is not one of those purposes.
No. The next one is a huge pet peeve of mine, which is the AR of like AR-10 or AR-15. The AR stands for assault rifle.
True. Next.
There it is. Moving on down the line.
No, AR does not stand for assault rifle. It does not stand for automatic rifle. AR-15 stands for Armalite. Armalite was a company that was basically given the job of producing a gun to replace the M1 Garand. The first model they made was actually an AR-10, which is in a 308 instead of a 223 or 5.56. And it was meant to replace the M1 Garand, lost out to the M14 because when it went through its barrel pressure testing, it actually failed. Armalite went back and tried to put a steel barrel in there. Steel barrel was not able to be manufactured and put on there and presented back to the military in time, so the M14 won the contract. Eventually, Armalite decided to sell the design of the AR-10 and the AR-15 to Colt. Colt then started producing the guns, presented it back to the military. Air Force was the first ones, I believe, to take it. And then they sent those, created the M16, which is what you see in all the Vietnam movies. It came there at the end about midway through Vietnam, I
With the
believe,
big
is when it
handle
came
on
through.
top. I
Yeah, the
think.
big
Yeah.
old A2 style handle and the
Yeah.
bird cage up front. It had its own problems, so they came back, kind of redesigned it, and then that's when you got the AR-15 style platform or the M4 platform. It's kind of the second generation of Armalite's original design. But
It
no,
sounds like you know a thing or two.
I've stayed at Holiday Inn Express last night.
I would rewind the video and memorize word from word what Paul said. And then when you're at like Christmas dinner or like whatever, some kind of, I don't know, your kid's birthday party, and someone brings up assault rifle, you can shoot them with that.
Assault rifle wasn't even actually a term until the assault weapons ban, the illegal assault weapons
Yeah.
ban. But I digress. It's for another video. But that was I think it was 89 to 94, maybe, or somewhere. My dates may be wrong, but it's somewhere in that time frame. They banned a bunch of different styles of weapon platforms, basically, and they called them assault weapons, which means that obviously people were going on assault with these weapons, not the defensive purpose or potentially hunting or whatever the case may be. So that's where that comes from, and it's completely wrong. So you can tell all of your woke family members at Christmas dinner that this is what it actually stands for.
Yeah. Because you hear, like I said, you hear it all the time, and most of the time it's coming from either super new shooter, or someone who like has guns, but for some odd reason is associating the AR with assault rifle. I'll hear from time to time. Someone's like, "Oh yeah, man, I went to Cabela's and they had a ton of assault rifles," and you're like, "Really? They're selling those at Cabela's? They're selling those now?"
Yeah.
Like, you hear that from time to time, but it's that whole image of any gun that looks military is scary, which is funny because under our current administration that we have in America, if you're watching this overseas, they wanted to get rid of like the AR-15 platform because it looks scary, but they said that the M1 Garand was actually okay to have. That gun has killed more people than AR-15.
It actually helped win.
Yeah,
a couple
because
wars.
he said that it's wooden. It's a wooden. It's a gun made out of wood, so it's less scary. Even though the M1 Garand helped us win for two.
Yeah, that's for a different video.
Yeah,
We can deep dive on that stuff.
Yeah. So that's a good one. The next one, Paul, guns just go off by themselves
all the time.
All the
People
time.
die all the time just because of random gunshots out of guns.
Guns will go off all
No,
the time.
they don't randomly go off. Not in this day and age. Maybe a long time ago, potentially, when there weren't the safeties and precautions put into place from the manufacturers now. The only thing that could potentially go off is if you had a shotgun or some type of AR platform rifle with a round in the chamber and in your car, and you're going down, dirt roads. They do have free floating firing pins, right? So they are a little bit more susceptible to bumps and shakes. I don't think it would ever actually happen, not anything made recently, at least, but it's still one of those kind of better safe than sorry situations.
Yeah.
But pistols, 100% no. There has to be some type of movement or physical activity to make them go off. They have drop safeties, they have trigger safeties. There's the Glocks have like 5 or 6 safeties internally. So it's just not going to happen. That's why when we say carry one in the chamber, we mean carry one in the chamber. Because unless you put your booger hook on the bang switch, as all the old heads would like to say, it's not going to go off. But it includes you need to make sure that you have a proper holster and proper storage, so that way you're not getting something in between the trigger and the guard for it, and there's not something in your holster, or you're not sticking it just down into your pocket. You're actually putting it in something that's decent.
Yeah, we have a whole video on holsters. So if you're just now watching and you're not really sure about holsters, go back and watch that video.
I don't know if there's any style of holster we didn't
about
cover.
That. Yep. Next one is the Second Amendment was only written for the purpose of hunting.
Of overbearing government officials.
Yes.
That was no. It's not just meant for hunting. It was meant for a group of people who were a new founded country to be able to defend themselves from a tyrannical government. So people talk about the well-regulated militia part of it, how that was supposed to have been the military. Well, they didn't talk about it being the military because we didn't have a military back then. A well-regulated militia was run by each individual state. The state would call upon a regular citizen to go out and defend either his state or his country. So think about it. We're all draftable.
Absolutely.
So technically, would we not be the militia?
That's right.
But again, we got more videos coming down the road. I don't want to get off on that soapbox right now. No, it was not meant for just hunting. It was meant for citizens to be able to defend themselves from any type of tyrannical government or, tea taxing Englishmen.
Right into the harbor.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great day.
It was a great day.
Great day.
Yep. Hashtag drink coffee. You put that well. I won't even piggyback on that one. The next one, Paul. If you are an experienced shooter, you only need one shot to take down the assailant or the attacker, whichever you want to put there. I hear that one from time to time. People will say,
Yeah.
"You only, I only need one shot." That's in theory, yes. Like
Yeah.
one shot would kill, but
Yeah.
the likelihood.
No, that's an ignorant way of thinking. Right. It's the same way of people saying that they only carry 1911s because they won 2 world wars. Yeah, they did. And the Model T was the epitome of upper class and best suited
Yeah.
vehicles. Right. We've come a long way from there. Nobody drives a Model T anymore. Right. So my ideology is I want to carry as many rounds as I possibly can. If you only want to do it with one round, they make black powder pistols.
They do.
Right? You get you a pirate pistol, carry a little sword on the side,
God.
and just use that. No, you need more than one pistol, right? Or you need more than one round.
Walk around with a blunderbuss.
Right.
Blunderbuss or blunderbuss?
Bus, I believe.
There it is.
I also, didn't grow up in the 1700s, so I don't know. But I'm carrying as many rounds as I feasibly can with me. I would carry around my ammo can full of magazines if I could, but I would probably end a divorce, and I don't know that I'd make it after that.
Mm-hmm.
But one round, potentially, that's the ultimate goal. You don't want to have to fire more than you don't need to. And if you've watched our videos before, you can shoot them right in the tee box, and that's typically an off switch for you. But I don't want to chance it.
No.
Right? Magazines fail, rounds fail. Sometimes there are light primer strikes. There's any number of outside factors that could potentially screw up your one shot. And the person who says that probably couldn't hit the broadside of a barn to begin with under no stress.
No.
And then you add stress and OODA loop and losing, your ability to do small motor functions, whatever that's called. I can't remember that term now. But, it's just it doesn't make sense. If somebody says that to you, don't stop listening to them.
No, you usually hear that in more the political side of things. Usually politicians will say things like, you only need to carry a pistol that holds 5, or if you're a skilled shooter, you only need 3. Those are the people that have never been in a gunfight ever. Because I agree with you. If I want to carry as much ammo as I can carry on my body or in a bag or whatever, because obviously, even though we both train under that type, especially from a civilian standpoint, under that type of adrenaline dump, noise, screaming, whatever's going on, I would love to say that I could hit my target, but dude, I'm just going to be straight up humble on this one. It may take me a whole magazine. Like we don't know, but I'd rather have more, and it'd be like, damn, bro, I only shot 3 rounds and got it, versus being like, well, I go to the range once every 6 months, so I just need 5. That's all I need.
Yeah, if that was the case, snipers would go on missions with 1 round, and they don't.
That'd be it. The next one is shooting guns isn't safe.
That's completely false. Not only is it safe, but it's really fun to do, right? You just have to take the proper precautions. You didn't just jump in a car and start driving around, right? You learn how to drive first. So as long as you take the time to go to a real range or go to a buddy who knows what they're talking about, right? Don't go shoot with the guy that says, I only need 1. Probably because they're not going to have more than about 10 rounds for you to shoot to begin with, and you're not even going to get a feel for the gun.
Yeah.
Go with somebody you trust, or go with somebody who goes on a regular basis. Just to even kind of get the basis of etiquette part of it to go to a range, right? How to set the pistol down, how to load a magazine, how to unload a magazine. Make sure that you're not pointing the barrel at anybody. If you watch the 4 Cardinal Rules
Yeah,
video, hopefully some of that stuff can stick. But no, not only is it safe, if you're doing it correctly, it's extremely fun, and you can spend all day doing
absolutely.
it.
I was going to say the same thing. If you're following firearm safety and you're training, getting some training, shooting with responsible people, it is 100% safe. I mean, obviously, even though we're shooting all the time, and we still take those safety precautions, of course, serious. But the idea that shooting guns isn't safe, yeah, maybe if you're shooting with your like drunk Uncle Terry, like who doesn't ever shoot, yeah, maybe it's not safe. I don't know, like. Yeah, we've all been.
I don't even carry around. I just rack my shotgun.
That guy. Yeah, that's the guy. I don't. I don't. I don't. I remember my uncle one time was really drunk and he said, "I don't need to carry a gun. These are already concealed weapons." I digress. Yeah,
Well, when you're seeing 4 of the same person, it makes it difficult to swing those things.
that's absolutely true. The next one. There's a debate, of course, on the internet whether a shotgun or rifle is the best for home defense. Dive into that later. But back to shotguns. A shotgun for home defense, it will never ever miss the target.
That's 100% false. If you don't aim at the target, then of course you're going to miss. If
That's true.
you go to rack your shotgun when somebody breaks into your house, and you never point the gun back down towards, because everybody's going to rack it just like this.
Yep.
If you pull the trigger, it's going to go straight through your roof, and then flip a bunch of different houses probably as the babies come back down. But no, you have to still point the shotgun at whoever broke into your house, even be close to shoot them. If that was the case, they wouldn't have a bead on the front so that you could properly align your sight picture.
Yeah.
Right. So no, you 100% have to. That is going to be a little bit wider. You're going to have a little bit more grace when it comes to a shotgun because it's more than just one projectile coming out the end. It could go from anywhere from 4 or 5 big, decent sized projectiles coming out to a slug, which is an actual bullet, just putting a shotgun cartridge, and then or you get a birdshot, which is going to have a ton of tiny little pin-sized BBs that come flying out, but they're going to come out and they are naturally just going to spread just a little bit, right? But it's not like you see in the movies or video games where you shoot it and the wall comes down or the person goes flying back. Sir Isaac Newton proved that would never actually happen. That's just a movie fallacy.
Yeah.
But no, you still have to present the gun towards the target of whoever you're trying to defend yourself against, so to actually still hit them.
Yeah, you hear that. I've heard that one before. Like, I mean, the shotgun, yes, we'll do this later, but like, shotgun is, it has its place on home defense. But for someone to say that it never misses, that's a weird statement to make.
That's aggressive. Again, that's probably the same person that doesn't keep a round in the chamber in their pistol and leaves it in their car.
Because I've shot at a lot of.
I say it all the time. Car's not a holster.
He does.
I'll say it again before this video.
I've shot a lot of clay pigeons, and I've missed a lot of clay pigeons.
Yeah, skeet shooting is the number one.
If you want to know,
Buster on this one.
If you want to know if you're real good, go shoot some clay pigeons one day, and you'll realize you're actually suck.
Yeah, it's a lot harder than they
TV
in the movies.
I'm hoping that my attacker is not, what is that, 3 inches?
Yeah,
hope he's not 3 inches around because I'm screwed.
Or orange. That was a very different conversation then too.
We'll save this one, the little history lesson, for later. The movies do a good job of this. Silencers make guns 100% quiet. So if you put a silencer on and I shoot up my front door, nobody's going to hear it.
So a silencer, yes, it would, because silencers are what they use in movies and TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
Suppressors are what we use here in real life. They suppress the sound. They don't eliminate it. Silencers in movies, you hear that.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe.
That's all you hear, right? Suppressor, even if you have even if it is a specific caliber made suppressor, right? If you don't have subsonic rounds, you're still going to get an uncomfortable loudness from the gun. Now, if you have the right suppressor for the right caliber, and the right cartridge, which means a subsonic round, which means a little bit slower bullet, right? You're not getting that sonic boom, as you would say, with airplanes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But if you get a subsonic round, a little bit slower, if you use the right suppressor, it's actually going to be about as loud as somebody just aggressively clapping their hands. It's not something that you want to pop 60 rounds off inside, maybe, but it's going to drastically reduce the amount of noise that's going to come into your ears. It's still loud enough that anybody in the surrounding vicinity is going to be aware that there was a noise that came from the direction that you're shooting. So you're not going to be able to walk up into some kind of building and just start taking people out 4 feet from each other. That's not the way that.
Yeah, because movies and video games, because we both Call of Duty and stuff. Movies and video games and TV shows do an absolutely terrible job of depicting what's reality and what's Hollywood.
Yeah,
and you see that all the time too. Like, and unfortunately, what you don't know, what you don't know kind of thing. So even for someone who's like brand new with a gun, somebody like, man, I really want whatever they put on that gun in the movie where I don't hear it. It's how that works, but
it's just a movie gun.
It's John Wick, yeah, which we like.
Oh yeah,
but it's not reality.
Yeah, absolutely. But
so I like that one. The next one is the history lesson, and I hear this from time to time. And even when I was doing all of my classes and stuff, my instructor said this. Paul's talked about it before. I'm pretty confident about a magazine, right? And a magazine versus a clip. And I don't have like an actual clip. I need to like bring one to show, but the difference between a magazine and a clip, right? So in the M1 Garand, which was used in World War II, that was a clip. It held what, 15?
So 8, I believe.
So when that was ejected and it hit the ground, of course, it made a metal ping sound, right? So the myth that everyone always wants, or this theory, is that the clip hitting the ground, creating this ping sound, killed more Americans in World War II than anything else. And the theory was that the German soldiers would be shooting and they would hear this ping and they'd say, oh, hey, that guy's reloading. Now, they wouldn't say it in English. They'd say it in German, whatever. They would say, hey, he's reloading. Let's go kill him. And I get a little bit of it. And if you watch Saving Private Ryan, you'll hear that noise. I get a little bit of that. But when I first heard it from the instructor, I was like, bro, that's completely false. Yeah. He was like, how do you know that? I'm older than you. I was like, well, think about it. World War II is extremely noisy. You got everyone firing guns, grenades, artillery. God knows if there was airstrikes above you, whatever the case may be, all this loud noise. Do you really think through all of this chaos, and it wasn't like they were wearing like ear protection, that they could hear this?
3M was not in a lawsuit during that war.
Yeah. You think they could hear an audible ping sound and then say, hey, that dude's reloading, let's go kill him?
That's the thing, like on the off chance that you do hear it, right? How many soldiers were in one area by themselves?
Yeah.
This wasn't, a battle with the British redcoats where everybody stands in a line and then they just take turns shooting muskets, right? People are in different areas, they're in different spots, they're shooting at different rates, they're shooting at different times. There are different styles of guns that are out there. So even if one person was able to hear the ting of the clip falling to the ground, for him to jump up and be like, now it's time to go get him, makes no sense, because the second he stood up and started running to attack, there's going to be a couple other dudes who still have rounds in their guns that can stand up and possibly canoe his head out.
The dude's about to meet the Gatling gun or whatever.
Yeah.
So that one always kind of bothered me. Now when
I say that, I was not in World War II.
Neither was I.
So
I don't know.
Going off best guess and knowledge I've researched.
Yes. Now I get it. Like if it was an urban warfare situation, maybe where it was like maybe in some kind of a town that had, it was maybe a town that was quiet. There was small like. I mean, but you're still talking. To make that theory, you'd almost have to have like very small, like 3 versus 3 type, like very small.
But I'll tell you what, it was chambered in 30-06, I believe, and that it's not quiet.
It would be.
It's not comfortable. Your ears are going to ring for a long, long time after that. You're not going to be able to hear.
It would be a fun test to go to a gun range with like everyone actively shooting
Challenge accepted.
and do the my hands on
I have access to a
and doing an M1 Grand
Mhm.
and seeing if you actually could physically hear the
It's a replica.
thing.
It's
So,
I'd probably be able to shoot it.
so you know what we're talking about? Just watch Saving Private Ryan,
Yep.
and it's the whole freaking movie is just that. Last but not least, I told Paul this was a surprise, so he doesn't know that it was coming. Is the internet said that on the guns, like the myths page, that the only gun that mattered, the only gun that was superior, was a Glock.
True. You guys have a good night. Your card's not a holster.
Thank you,
right?
House Watch.
No, to me, yes, that's true. That's not a myth, but that's personal preference, right? I'm going to talk crap about Smith and Wesson XDs, not Smith and Wesson. I'm sorry, Springfield
Springfields.
Armories XDs, because I've just watched them fail and fail and fail time after time. And to me, I just prefer Glock. It's a preference thing. I also prefer to drive Chevys. I don't drive Fords, right? It's I have to trust my life to it while I'm on the clock, so I trust my life to it while I'm off
Yeah.
the clock. The platforms are the same across the board. They're different. Obviously, they're different sizes, but everything works the same. I don't have to worry about rolling the mag release or where the slide lock is. You know, what angle the mag well's at. Like it's all the
Yeah.
same. They're just
Yeah.
built a little bit bigger, or a little bit smaller. So for me, yes, that's 100% truth. But I'm not going to hold somebody else to that same standard. So it's at the end of the day, it's false. But personally, I believe it to be true.
Well, I think like I've always said before, you carry what you know. At the end of the day, you carry what you carry. Like you carry what you are comfortable with, and of course, you carry what you can afford. I mean, we get it. Like
Right.
guns are expensive, so if you can only afford a $300 gun or whatever the case may be, then get really freaking good at that gun. But with that same thing is, you have to ask yourself if you're like anti Glock, you have to ask yourself why has it really become the industry standard? Why is it that not every, but most of every police department carries them? I think pretty much military has made their switch back. So you have to ask yourself, why are those guns becoming the industry standard? Some people would argue, well, they're buying them at bulk prices. This isn't Ollie's, bro. Like this isn't Ollie's. I'm pretty sure like this is not how that works. So when I hear people argue that, because I've even had people that say that Kimber 1911s are the only standard. Like you're not a man unless you carry a 1911.
I wish there was like a second camera right here where I could just be like,
Yeah,
Jim Hopper in the office.
You hear that all the time. If it ain't a 1911, you ain't a man for carrying it. Well, you have. So then when you say, well, why is it that law enforcement carry a Glock? Well, it doesn't matter. You're wrong. So
Well, so Glocks are just made to be workhorses. They're not a pretty gun. They're not good looking. They're not something you want to show off to your buddies. But they're built sort of like the AKs are. They are built to run dry. They're built to run wet. They're built to just run with dirt in them, not cleaned. They're meant to work. They're not pretty. The height of the slide itself is lower than most guns, so um, you're not having to deal with as much snapback when we're talking with recoil, because your center of gravity is lower on the pistol. There's just a lot that goes into it, but they're just meant to work. So to me, if the numbers aren't wrong,
they're not. Yeah.
and I train with them and I enjoy them. They're what I shoot, but it really comes down to whatever somebody wants to take training, right? If you're going to take that pistol to the range and learn how to use it, or if you're going to dry fire at the house, or if you're going to take classes with it, and that gun is the one you want to do it with, by all means, rock that gun. I don't care if it's an XD or not. If you
Yeah.
know how to use it, then let that be
Whatever.
your gun. It doesn't have to be a Glock. I just prefer Glocks. I prefer Chevys. I prefer gun drop. I prefer RC Cola over the rest of that crap. So
Right.
it just comes down to personal preference. If you're going to use it by all means.
We see a lot of. I mean, we see a lot of students come through with Glock, of course. I would say Glock is number one from what I've seen. Um, and Springfield's kind of right under like second and third. Usually, once the Hellcat came out, everybody started buying it. The only thing I would say that I noticed with the Hellcat is a lot of people bought it, and then when they went and shot it, they realized how small it was. It was actually a hard gun to get a good grip on.
Yeah.
But for me, like I only have I have the Glock 44, which is the 22 caliber. I use that for we use that for pistol classes and all that kind of stuff. And I've ran that gun to the point to where the whole inside was black. I don't recommend this. The whole inside was black, nasty, and it completely got torrential downpoured on. I stowed it away for like a week, meant to clean it, never did. Use it the next week for another class. Out of the box, like dirty, nasty. It never once had a problem. And that's not, we're not getting paid from Glock at all, unless you want to. We're not getting paid by Glock at all.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that
that would be lit.
it would be hashtag Glock. It
Bussin'.
it busted. It just worked. So
Yeah.
I would agree with you on that one. All I have was, I carry Canic, but like even them, I ran that damn thing pretty dirty and it still shoots. So I back behind the Glock is the industry standard 100%.
Yeah.
So this was a cool video because most of our other videos have been directed towards like the new shooter, and I felt like this was a little bit more laid back and have a little bit more fun with some of the gun myths. So if you know some gun myths, put them in the comment section. We'll either comment back or make a second video. But as always, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff every other content creator tells you. And I definitely appreciate you guys watching.
Car's not a holster.
There it is.